What's the difference between Jesus and a picture of Jesus? It only takes one nail to hang up a picture. Alright, so today, in honor of 419, I'm going to talk about the best thing in the world. Drugs! And if you don't know what 419 is, 419 is the anniversary of Albert Hofmann, the first man who have created, recorded, ingested, documented LSD. So, awesome. And in San Francisco on 419, they're going to have a huge bike ride because, well, Albert Hofmann was, when he was tripping, he was riding his bike home. So, hoot hoot. Everyone going on a bike ride. Right on. So, drugs. The definition of drugs is medicine or other substance that has psychological effect when ingested or otherwise introduced into the body. So, let me introduce you or paint you a picture of life without drugs. Sleep, shit, work, die. Oh, and eat. That's about it. Because drugs are everything. Pot is, or let me name you the top drugs. Tobacco, pharmaceutical drugs, alcohol, caffeine, weed, and psychedelics maybe in sixth. But those are, there are a lot of painkillers like Valium and Xanax and all these other drugs, Adderall and Ritalin. Those are essentially, Adderall is technically meth, and Oxycontin is kind of heroin. And these are prescribed to 7-year-olds, so fun stuff, drugs, eh? I'd say, if you don't do any of the popular drugs, I'd say, are tobacco, alcohol, and weed. Maybe psychedelics. And then people who don't do any drugs, I don't believe there's no one that does no drugs. Right? Everything's a drug. Adrenaline is an organic drug. Love is the strongest drug in the world. I forgot what comedian said it, but if love was a real drug, crack addicts would come up to you like, "Hey man, stay away from that stuff. You'll lose your house." Orange juice is a drug. Technically, that orange juice has more energizing effect than caffeine. Chocolate is another drug. When you break up with your significant other, you just, cheese, everyone loves cheese. Cheese is a drug. Sex is another drug. Or these are all organic drugs. I like the contrast between weed and alcohol, because weed's like, oh man, that tree's so HD I could touch it. Drunk is, oh, I can't believe I slept with him or her. When you smoke weed, I don't think there's such thing as a germaphobe in the marijuana community. Because, how can you be a germaphobe? You're you're in a circle, everyone's hitting the same thing. That's kind of gross, isn't it? You drop it, you pick it right back up, and you drop it in dog shit, fuck it. It kills cancer, it'll kill dog shit. I think it's funny when you see videos of people at a party, and they'll just drink the whole bottle by themselves, and everyone's cheering them on. But if you're in a session and you smoke a whole joint by yourself, everyone looks at you like, you're just rude, man. We're never gonna smoke with you again. Also, I don't think marijuana is an addiction. I don't think all drugs are an addiction. Like, masturbating could be a drug. Alright? I think weed's like masturbating. I can do it. I can stop anytime I want. I just don't want to. For the longest time when I lived in Las Vegas, BMX was my drug of choice. I didn't do any drug. I was sober for 18 years until I moved to moved to California, the Bay Area. And then I started doing alcohol and pot and all that such. But in Vegas, BMX was my drug of choice. What else? DUIs. DUIs are ridiculously expensive. The first DUI is $2,000. The second one is $10,000. The third one's $15,000. my friend had a DUI, and he went to MAD. It's a program, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and this person he talked to had his daughter killed by a drunk driver. He had 7 DUIs. He was caught, brought to jail, made bail, went in the streets, and he was caught with another DUI. This guy has 8 DUIs. Alright. Side note, I used to, and I don't do it anymore because I got caught drunk driving. I didn't get charged with it because he pulled me over when I was already pulled over. But I think drunk driving in a manual transmission is way different from driving in an automatic. And that's a video for another day. But manuals for the win. Mushies are another awesome drugs. Psychedelic mushrooms. Oh my god. Psychedelic mushrooms are my favorite drugs. I think I would give up alcohol and weed in a heartbeat for mushrooms. Mushrooms are the shit. They stimulate your pineal gland. If you don't know what that is, you should look it up. Pineal gland, it is basically a third eye in your brain. Mushies are basically, imagine having a blowjob and all that good feelingness just in your brain. It is a blowjob for the brain. It is so, you just lay in your bed and melt, cry. It is the best thing you'll do with your life. I have funny thoughts about drugs. Like, I want to be a drug addict without the drugs. I wish I had a long history of cocaine, because I'm tired of this nose cartilage, alright? If I get into a fight, I'm gonna bleed. I have a bloody nose on the first hit, and I feel like, they're gonna think they did damage. They did not. I have a sensitive nose, and I just don't like the nose cartilage in here. I wish I did meth, because if you did meth, you're basically up all night, and you're productive. You're like, most people who do meth are like mechanics. They fix cars. They'll like do a whole engine rebuild overnight, because they're just on some shit, and they're just fucking on it. I think it'd be interesting to be like a cocaine or heroin addict, because that shit isn't cheap, and I'm sure you don't do it once a day. So let's pretend it's like $50 a day. That's like, what is that, $150 a month? Right? I don't know my math. I'm not that Asian. Anyway, the point is, that's a lot of money over time, and that's a lot more money you would have gotten than if you were just be like a regular millennial, just being in a room smoking with your friends. Oh, I didn't do shit today, I was smoking with my friends. Well, this guy was homeless, making as much money as he can, holding a signer, fucking washing windshields just to get that crack money. But hey, he made money. I mean, granted, he spent it on crack, but if he would have saved it, is what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know. I think it's just a fun idea to have the benefit of drugs without the consequence. What else? Mushies, they're brain sex. I think truly believe if everyone did mushrooms once in their life, the world would be much better. Because I think mushrooms are the only drugs that kill the ego. And that is one of the worst things in the world, ego. Love, I said. Love is the strongest drugs there is in the world. And, man, I think once you, as Joe Rogan said it beautifully, if you have a girlfriend and you marry her, you love your wife. Oh, I love you. And then you have a kid with her. And you just love the kid so much. And then you look back at your wife and you're like, oh, shit. If this is love, I may have lied to you. Oh, that was Louis C.K. Anyway, the point is, kids are freaking ridiculous. And I worked with kids for a couple years, and they're a draining. Oh my god, they're like the most expensive drug there is. Holy shit. Well, what else? I think every drug has their come down. Like, when you're drunk, you eventually just sober up. Same with weed. But with heavier drugs like cocaine and heroin, you go up, but you also go down. And here's, like, sober. You go below sober and you get into depressed, and that's not good. So, heavy drugs, there's up and there's also a down. So, I think love has a pretty harsh down. Because you can lose your house, your dogs, your wife. And that's, man, love is one hell of a come down. But, anyway, guys, That's my videos on drugs. Those are my opinions. Let me know what are your top 3 or top 5 drugs are. And if you're asking me, my top drug is psychedelics, because I haven't had love yet. True, the good shit anyway, organic anyway. So psychedelics. I'd say alcohol and weed is in a competition, but I feel that the effects of alcohol more than I do marijuana, because you smoke for a while, you get it, the tolerance. And I love adrenaline. Oh my god, like skating and biking, bombing a hill, downshifting a corner. That is the best. And then love is one hell of a drug. If you can get that, you don't need anything else. But hey, if you have your kids growing up with a car addiction, they won't have money to have a drug addiction. Alright guys, see you on the next video.